Oh, it's just the same old choir. Same as last year, year before. And I want to acknowledge you guys because they turned that around. Remember, we just had a Christmas program. How many were here on Christmas Eve? Okay. Weren't they fabulous on Christmas Eve? Okay. And after learning all that material, then they had to turn it around real quick and learn this during the holidays. Well, the rest of us were out drinking and partying and carousing and carrying on. Weren't you? Getting too much chocolate. These guys were putting the time in, and I loved it because I was here last Tuesday night for their rehearsal, and I had originally envisioned them coming down the aisles and singing that, and Chris had said, we're not quite there yet, so we're probably not going to do that. And this morning I walked in for rehearsal, and there they are down the aisle singing that. And he said, yeah, we gained some confidence in between. So I want to thank you guys, truly, truly, for embodying the principles of what we teach and stretching yourselves beyond, what you've done before. So thank you. So our talk today is, Behold, I make all things new. We get new music. I'm hearing voices, music of the spheres. I'm not hearing voices. Even in the wizarding world, that's a bad thing. That was a Harry Potter reference. But it's our theme for the year. Behold, I make all things new. And I love that song. I wanted that song to introduce this theme because it asks, can you feel a brand new day? Yes. Not just can you think about it, not just can you conceptualize it, not just, isn't that a nice idea, but can you feel it? Yes. That's why I wanted them dancing down the aisles. That's why I wanted you guys up and singing, because I want to invite you to embody a brand new day in your own lives. Now, to get a brand new day doesn't mean that you have to give up the old. You take the old, you integrate it, you bless it, and you move it forward into something even more wonderful. Ernest Holmes tells us that one of the great difficulties of the new order of thought is that we are likely to indulge in too much theory and too little practice. As a matter of fact, we only know as much as we can prove by actual demonstration. So until we walk our talk, until we prove it by demonstration, we don't really know it, we know about it. And I want to invite us to move from knowing about to deep knowing, to where your life is a manifestation of the principles we teach here, of love, of joy, of peace, of prosperity, of wisdom, of power, of creativity and order. Would you be open to that? Yes. Yes. Did I hear somebody not say yes? In order to continue the new, we have to get rid of the idea that there's a limit to how good it can be. One of my teachers used to say, don't let good be the enemy of better. Don't let good be the enemy of better. So however good your life is right now, it can get better. There's a Zen saying that says, when you reach the top of the mountain, keep climbing. Okay? When you reach the top of the mountain, when you reach the top of what you think is the pinnacle, when you reach the top of where you think the top is, it says there's more, keep climbing. See, we're working with an infinite universe. We're working with an infinite good. And if we're to explore the infinite good of the divine, we can't get stuck on any one spot. No matter how good it is, no matter how wonderful it is, we can't get stuck there. We have to keep climbing. And we keep climbing into more and more and more good. That's what we're climbing into. Anybody want to go with me? Yeah. All right. So principle is not bound by precedent. One of my favorite Ernest Holmes quotes ever. Principle is not bound by precedents, and what that means, I don't know what it means. What does it mean? No. What it means is that no matter what came before does not matter to the infinite presence. It is creating new. right now, new. It does not matter what you did yesterday. It doesn't matter what you did 1 minute ago. You know, I love sports because a lot of sports figures have to give up that, if they make a mistake, they can't hang on to that mistake. They got to go for the next, if they're playing golf, they got to go for the next hole. If they're playing football, they got to go for the next throw they're going to do. Or if they're playing baseball, the next at-bat they're going to have. They can't worry about the mistake they made. And so we can't carry around with us our old stuff. Because all that does is weighs us down. And then our attention is in the rearview mirror, and we're driving forward down the road looking in the rearview mirror. I've tried that. It's not a good thing. So principle is not bound by precedent. This is true at every moment of every day. So we can create new anytime we want. But the thing is, we can have fun right now because there's a race thought. There's a thought in the consciousness of the world, or at least most of what we know, of newness. It's a new year, and so there's this idea of being new, right? And so we can ride that race consciousness. Race consciousness is neither good or bad, it's just what it is. We get to decide. By race consciousness, I mean the communal or thought of everybody around us. And so every group has a race thought. This church has a race thought about itself, okay? It's neither good or bad, it's just what it is. The city of Reading has a race thought about itself. There's a couple times where I've said things to people, and I've said, well, in Seattle we used to do it this way, and they said, this is not Seattle, this is Reading, okay? And it's a limiting thought sometimes when it's said that way. But there's a consciousness about Reading, there's a consciousness about California, right? There's a consciousness about the state of Jefferson. Okay? So there's a race thought. There's a race thought, whatever group we're in. There's a race thought with the choir. There's a race thought with the men's group. There's a race thought with the women's group. There's a race thought, group thought of whatever we're in. And so sometimes that can be to our advantage, and sometimes it takes us in a direction we don't want to go, I mean. And so we want to pay attention. But right now the race thought in the world is newness. And so we can ride the consciousness of that and say, yes, behold, I make all things new. I am willing to be made new. I am willing to ride that wave. Now, where that wave crashes for most people is about a month and a half from now when they abandon all their New Year's resolutions. Okay? Quit going to the gym or whatever it is. And that's what we're going to change because we're going for the root of what makes us new, which is not the outer, but the inner. We're working in consciousness. And so we're going to start to shift our consciousness, and out of the shift in consciousness comes the new you, comes the new year, comes the new process, comes the newness in your life. Because instead of waiting for something out there to change or try and make something out there to change, we work within here, knowing that as we become that person, that out there automatically reflects who we are. Are you with me? Yeah. Okay. So the universe is constantly expressing anew. We tell it how to show up. Take a breath. We tell it how to show up. I'm sorry, it's not your parents. It's not your spouse or your ex-spouse. It's not your kids. It's not your boss. It's not the economy. It's not whoever the president is or was. It's not the Congress. It's not the weather. It's not the city. We individually tell it how to show up in our lives. And most of us are telling it to show up in the same old ways that we're used to. Because that's what we're used to. We're comfortable with that. We know how to tell it to show up in the same ways. And so it's our comfortable patterns that we continue to recreate and continue to recreate and continue to recreate. And yet here's this universe that's infinite in what it will give. The Bible says the gift is already given. The question is, are we going to receive it? Yes. And how much of it are we going to receive? So if we want something new, we have to take a new thought. That's why we're called the New Thought Movement. We have to take a new thought, and we have to develop that into a new belief. So it's so strong within us that it becomes our belief, our new way of living, our new pattern, our new habit, our new way of expressing ourselves in the world. We have to take that thought. We have to take whatever we want and express it as something new. So the question we want to ask ourselves and begin to ask ourselves is, what new paradigm do I want to replace? What do I want to replace in my life? So if you want to step into a new day, there's 3 steps. Number 1, and sometimes most difficult and challenging for us, identify what's been holding you back. Identify what's been holding you back. This is called looking at the dark side of your life sometimes. Ooh. Okay? And it can be scary for some of us if we haven't done it before. There was a Baptist church in the South. On Sunday morning, preacher was preaching away hellfire and damnation, whatever they preach in the Baptist church. And eventually, and after a couple of minutes, right behind him started this little column of smoke started to rise. The congregation was watching this column of smoke, and the preacher didn't even notice it. He was on a rant, kind of like me, And after a while, that column of smoke got bigger and thicker. It began to smell more acrid. The preacher isn't noticing it. He's still on a rant, but the congregation is definitely noticing it. Like, what's going on back there? And pretty soon there's this big, humongous pall of smoke hanging right behind him. And all of a sudden, out of that smoke, you see these wings with talons on them start to form. And out comes the wings, and out steps Satan himself, Beelzebub, Prince of Darkness. And everybody screams and runs out of the church, and the preacher finally figures out what's going on behind him. He takes one look at him, drops his Bible, and is out the door. And Satan is sitting there going, ha! Another one. And he looks over and notices right about over there in one of the pews there's a guy still sitting there. He's like looking at him going, what? Don't you know who I am? He says, yeah, I know who you are. Been married to your sister for 60 years and I'm not afraid of you. When we stop being afraid of the darkness, it no longer has any power over us. And so we start to look at our lives and say, what has been holding me back? It's just what's been holding you back. It's not that you're a bad person. It's just what's been holding you back. And then the second step is you become willing to let it go. It's not enough to just notice what it is. You got to get it out of there, right? And so you pull the weed out of your life. We're going to do some of that today, and we're going to do some of that in the Intentions Retreat. And that's what a lot of the classes are about, is taking a look and getting yourself free of that stuff. The talks on Sunday are just to inspire you. The classes are where it really happens. Right? Right. And then finally, once you pull the weed out, you get conscious and create, what do I really want in its place? It's not enough to just pull the weed out and leave this empty plot of land there. You got to consciously plant, what do I want? We're going to be doing that with the Intentions Retreat. That's the conscious declaring of what I want in my life and why I want it, with the power to make it happen. And once we do that, then you are a brand new person. The brand new day is dawning within you as you. And then as that happens, you create new results in your life. We good? Yeah. Does that sound like something you want to play with? So you become the kind of person who would have the results that you want in your life, instead of trying to get the results out there somewhere to come to you in here or over here. You become the kind of person who is manifesting from within you out into the world the results that you want in your life. Do you notice the difference? Yeah. Okay. So we're going to do a little process. We're going to do a little exercise to support you in that. Are we good with that? Yes. So I'm going to invite you to... How many of you got that little piece of paper, little square of paper that's... I know I have one floating around up here somewhere. Anybody not have one? I know Ray is sitting back there ready to hand one out. If you did not get one, put your hand up. And you need a pen. You want a pen or pencil or something to write with. I surprised the ushers by just telling them that.
There's one, but it was right there.
I know it was right there. Yeah, I'm clean. Good, you too. So you want to have this paper and a pen handy. Are we good? Are we ready? Settle down? Everybody got what we need? Need another minute? Second? 10 seconds? 5 seconds? 4, 3, 2. We're going to need...
He found it.
that which was lost has been found. Okay. So I'm going to invite you, we're going to do a little meditative internal process to start with. So take a breath. If you feel comfortable, gently close your eyes. Allow yourself to just relax. Letting go of what you think might be going to happen, what you think might not going to be happen. Letting go of what happened before. Just be present in this moment. Just be a being sitting in your chair breathing with nothing else to do. Now I'm going to invite you to tap into your high wisdom self, your own internal guide, wisdom self, however you want to refer to that. Spirit within. And take a look through the year 2014. Begin to go back to last January. We're going to begin to walk forward through that year with two things in mind. Number one, what am I grateful for from this year? And number two, what would I want to change from this year? So begin to allow yourself to walk forward. Take yourself back to January 1st of last year, New Year's Day of 2014. Just notice where you were. And then allow yourself to move through January. What was that like? What are you grateful for? What might you want to change? Moving through February, up through March, beginning to see spring showing up. Moving into April and May and June, opening up to the summertime. What are you grateful for? What do you want to change? Into July, August, and September. Just noticing, just being aware, just remembering. Noticing patterns that run through this year. Patterns that work, patterns that perhaps don't work. And finally moving into the last few months, October, November, and into December of 2014. What am I grateful for? What might I want to change? And allow that high wisdom self now to reveal to you a word or a very short phrase that summarizes what you would like to let go of. Perhaps it's been a theme that's been running through this year. Maybe it's been lack. Maybe it's been struggle. Maybe it's feeling unloved or lonely. Perhaps it's been chaos. Perhaps it's been anger or hurt or fear. But an underlying theme that has been running through your life this past year and probably for years before that you are now ready to let go of. That you're saying to that, you've run my life long enough. I've had enough of you. Take a deep breath. And when you know what that is, imagine in your mind that word showing up on a piece of paper. And allowing yourself then to take all of the energy of that and move it out of your body onto that piece of paper. And now take that word and write it on the piece of paper in your hand, that little square of paper. If you can't fit the whole word on, just fit part of it on, just enough that you know this is just between you and Spirit, so you know what it is. You can write a single letter on there if you want to. Draw a symbol. Take a deep breath. And very gently, when you're ready, I invite you to bring that piece of paper with that word up to our altar up front here. And just drop it into the altar. Drop it into this bowl, excuse me. Let it go. Kept them a little sticky. Don't let it stick to you. Sound booth crew, do you want to take part in this?
We already got it taken care of.
Thank you. So, the ministers and I are going to take this home with us. We're going to identify your handwriting and isn't that what we're going to do? You ready to let it go? Yes. You're sure you're ready to let it go? Yes. It's gone. Can you feel a brand new day? Yes. Take a breath. That could be just a little fun exercise, or you could actually allow yourself to release it and let it go. And I invite you to do the latter, including the wax. To let it go. And to now ask yourself in that higher wisdom self, what's the new pattern that I want to replace it with? Perhaps if you've had struggle, you want to replace it with ease and grace. Maybe you want to replace it with harmony, order, wisdom, abundance, peace, joy, love. What is the pattern that you want to replace it with? What is it that you want to embody and express this year? Perhaps for the first time in your life, or more fully than you ever have in your life. And just breathe that in for a moment and become aware of that. Let that inner self of you guide you into knowing what that is. This is the new plant in place of the weed. Now here's what I'm going to invite us to do. On the count of 3, you're going to loudly state your word, all together. So you'll have no idea what their persons are. You ready? The new word. The new word, the new pattern that you're embodying. This year in 2015, I am embodying 1, 2, 3, love. All right. And so it is. The phrase, behold, I make all things new, comes out of the very last book of the Bible and just about the very last chapter of the Bible, the book of Revelations. And it says, and I saw a new heaven and a new earth, for the first heaven and the first earth had passed away. And he who sat upon the throne said, behold, I make all things new. I am Aleph and Tau, the beginning and the end. And I will freely give of the fountain of living water to him who is thirsty. He who overcomes shall inherit these things. The new heaven and the new earth is our consciousness. It's you and me. It's what we're building in our own lives. The old earth has passed away. Okay? That was that. What you're making room for now, what you're building in your consciousness, is the new heaven and the new earth. And that which is infinite allows that to happen. It has no agenda other than that. It has no agenda other than your freedom. The fountain of the universe pours forth for those who overcome. And what do we overcome? We overcome what Zig Ziglar liked to call stinking thinking. Okay? We overcome the old patterns. We overcome our inertia, our laziness, our stuckness, our belief in that we can't have what we want. And when we overcome that, we step into this receiving of the fountain of the infinite. And so I invite you today, and I invite you this year, to step into that consciousness, to open up to the fountain, to take charge of your consciousness, and to create from that infinite place within you. That's your homework. Not for the week, but for the year and beyond. Are you ready? Yes. All right. I'm going to close with a quote from Ernest Holmes, then I'll do a prayer. Ernest says, the thing itself, which is his name for God or the infinite or spirit, the thing itself is not limited. Got that? The thing itself is not limited. As we have proven, the principle is not bound by precedent. We go into that realm which says, behold, I make all things new, and carrying with us, not carrying with us the limited belief of the reason why it cannot be. We step into the new year without the reason why we cannot have the life that we've chosen to have. That is what we're stepping into this year with. Are you ready to go? Yes. All right. So I know that there is one infinite presence, one pure power, one pure grace, one infinite, unlimited good. Beyond our wildest imagination, that love, that power, that joy, that grace, that bliss of spirit is all that there is. And because it is infinite, we have to be one of it. There is nowhere else to be. There's nothing outside of that one infinite presence. And so we are expressions of the nature of the divine. It is the only thing we can be. We are the love. We are the joy. We are the abundant good. We are the health. We are the wholeness. We are the life. We are the light. We are the power and the grace. We are that. This is our true state. This is why we came to earth, was to manifest that, to shine that. And today we have said, let all things be new. Let the grime of the journey fall away from us. So we stand in the light. We stand as the light. As Jesus said, you don't hide it under a bushel basket anymore. We stand on the hill as the light of the divine that we are. And we let it shine. We don't hold back anymore. And so I know that this is the truth for each and every person here who says yes to this, who says yes to the good, to the true nature of the divine. That all there needs to be is a willingness, a yes within our hearts, a yes within our souls, a yes within our beings. And the universe rushes in. It knows how to do it. We don't have to figure out the how. And so we stand in that yes. We stand in that willingness. We stand in the power that we truly are. We say, let there be a new heaven and let there be a new earth. And because we carry the Word of God, the power of God, the creativity of the divine, it manifests in, through, and as our lives right here and right now. And I'm so grateful. I'm grateful for every person who is saying yes to this right here and now. I'm grateful for the good that is manifesting, the good that is unfolding as a result of this. I'm grateful for the yes within us and the Spirit that is within and behind and as it all. And so we release this Word into a law that moves it into form and expression. We write it on the universe, and the universe writes it right back on our hearts. And it is done. And together we say, and so it is. Thank you.
To love, serve.